Being desperate for anything or anyone is really a bad place to be in. For this really shows you where your God is if you really think about it. Whether it is that you're desperate for big things to happen in your life or small things to happen in your life. In terms of big things, it may be that you're desperate to become famous, wealthy, rich, powerful, influential, wanting to be in a relationship with someone. And in terms of the small things, is you want to meet up with someone, meet up with people, meet up with a particular person you may like, meet up with particular people you like being surrounded with or around with, or you want to buy some things for yourself like clothes, shoes, or even just spending money on some things. But haven't you realized that the moment you actually become desperate for anything or anyone, it makes you to force things to happen in life 9 times out of 10, the way they maybe weren't supposed to happen or meant to happen. And if they actually did end up happening, supposedly, it is life telling you that you're operating from a place of you being desperate. Because you operating from a place of you being desperate is you simply operating from a place of fear, insecurity, lack, worry, and anxiety. And desperation really makes us think that we need some things in our life for us to actually be okay. So it clouds our judgment in terms of you feel as if you need this, but in reality you do not need this. Because if you feel as if you need this, it will give you a sense of validation, a sense of belonging, a sense of meaning. But most likely it doesn't. But if you feel as if you want things, it makes you operate from a realm of peace, abundance, and just prosperity, because whether you have it or not, you're okay because you're having a want mentality. For example, if you're desperate in being in a relationship with someone, or if you're desperate in being in a relationship with this particular type of person, it really shows you where you've placed your God to be, which is the idea of you being with this person or even the person themselves. And now, the moment you actually be desperate in being in a relationship with someone, or now if you have someone and your dependency is on them, it really makes you lose yourself in terms of you compromise on yourself. Because if you lose yourself, it means that you're compromising on yourself. Where it is that you are compromising on your beliefs, on your values, on your principles, on your morals, and your standards. And this may actually cause you to people please. This may actually cause you to live above your means. This may actually cause you to put yourself in someone's life where you aren't supposed to play the role in that person's life. Basically, you're being God or Savior in their life. And desperation really clouds our judgment in terms of it really makes us be so delusional. It actually makes us not see things as what they are actually meant to be. If you actually think about it by there. So you feel as if you do not have this person in your life, or if you do not have a relationship with someone in your life, it feels as if you're going to die. It feels as if you're going to lose yourself. And that is a lie. And if there's one thing we need to realize about desperation, based on my example, is that it makes you compromise a lot. It does. Because you've placed the idea of God in something that is counterfeit, something that is not real, or something that is, even though it is real, like it's something tangible, it is something that is temporary. Because at the end of the day, it is you simply filling a void within yourself. That's what really makes us be desperate for the things that we feel as if we need in our life: relationships, money, status, fame, power. It's because we are replacing what is not, no, it's because we are filling a void that is in our heart with something that is not supposed to be filled in our hearts. Because at the end of the day, who we truly are as humans are spiritual beings. And what we actually need is a spiritual essence in us, living in us, which is what? Our relationship with God. Because once you do actually now have a solid relationship with God, you won't feel as if you need to be with someone. You won't feel as if you want money. You won't feel as if you not want money. You won't feel as if you need money. You won't feel as if you need to become famous because you have already made it in life. Made it in life in terms of you already know your place in life, which is trusting God, building your relationship with God, growing spiritually, because who you truly are is a spiritual being. And I've said this 1,000 and 1,000,000 times in my videos. Because if you end up actually truly knowing who you are, you won't actually compromise on yourself. Meaning that once you now have a firm, solid, and grounded relationship with God, you won't compromise on your beliefs, on your principles, on your morals, on your values, on your standards, because you know that if you do compromise on them, you're compromising on yourself. And if you compromise on yourself, you're compromising on your relationship with God. And if you compromise on your relationship with God, you lose yourself and you lose everything in it. Anything that you've ever had, you just lose it because your judgment, your viewpoint, your perspective towards life has been clouded by something that you feel as if you have to feel in your heart that is counterfeit and that is fake. That is what desperation really makes us to be in a position in. But this is the paradox about now being desperate. Being desperate is actually good and bad at the same time. It is bad based on what I've just explained, but it is good in the sense of your desperation is placed in the right reasons. Because if your desperation is placed in the wrong reasons, you have just end up losing yourself completely. But if your desperation is placed in the right reasons, but it is placed in the right reasons with a without a detached mentality, sorry, it makes you actually now lose yourself. For example, based on just the example I just said about the relationship, if you're desperate in being in a relationship with someone for the right reasons, like to love them for who they are, grow with them, um, understand them for who they are, build something with them. But if you are now not detached from that idea of you being desperate in being with someone for the right reasons, now it actually makes you lose yourself. Because if you're desperate without a detached mentality, whoa, that is a very bad place to be in. But if you're desperate with a detached mentality, it is okay. Because whatever it is that you allow to happen in life, you won't force. You will just accept whatever it is that happens in life that you know that is beyond your control. For example, again, with the relationship with someone, you know that you desperately want to be with someone. It is okay. You desperately know that you want to be with someone and you desperately want to be with this person for the right reasons, to love them for who they are and stuff. But if you do so from a what's it called? If you do so from a now desperate mentality and not a detached mentality, you will actually end up losing yourself and this person because now you'll end up playing God in their life. Because you feel as if these red flags that this person has, you feel as if you have to fix them. These flaws that this person has, you feel as if you have to fix them. But if you're desperate in wanting to be in a relationship with this person with that detached mentality, you will know that even though I seriously want to be with you, I'm not the savior of your life. Even though I seriously want to be with you, I cannot fix you. It is you who has to fix yourself. And it is for you to realize that. It's not for me to, I can help you realize that. But if you do not realize that by yourself, despite me helping you realize that, then I can't do anything about it. And that is a very beautiful mindset to have. Not only when it is that you're desperate in terms of wanting to be in a relationship with someone, but even in terms of success. Because if, but then let me now talk about compromising in success. Because if you compromise in terms of you wanting to be successful, it is a very bad place to be in. Because if you compromise in wanting to be successful, it means that you have to lose your, it means that you have to sell your soul if you really think about it. Because most likely now, like if you feel as if you this success is going to give you the life that you want, but most likely now the person who is going to give you access in giving you the life that you want makes you compromise in terms of they make you like sleep with them or do something like do something very immoral, you will lose yourself, and that will always cloud your judgment. But if you're desperate for success with a detached mentality, you will actually end up becoming successful because you won't compromise. Now, if you're put in a situation where you feel as if you have to sell yourself, you will be like, no, as much as I really want this opportunity, as much as I really want this money, as much as I really want this lifestyle, it's not worth it losing myself. It's not worth it compromising on myself. It's not worth it um, gaining these things where I know that in my mind, I had to sell something, which is most likely myself. So if you really think about it, being desperate is not bad and is bad at the same time. It really depends on how you grow as a person. It really depends on how you get to know yourself as a person. And the only best way of getting to know yourself through yourself, for yourself, is by building a relationship with God and getting to know God and now allowing God's beliefs, principles, morals, values, and standards to live in you. And once they do, you will never ever compromise yourself. You will never ever lose yourself. No matter how desperate you may want some things or someone, you won't lose yourself and you won't compromise on yourself. Because you know that at the end of the day, you have God and He's the one who will give you the desires of your heart as long as you do what He says, which is, as it is written, delight yourself in the Lord. Delight yourself in the Lord and He will give you the desires of your heart. Bless.